Okay. Um, Tonight, I'm going to share with you a story about a mystical man named Titty. Titty the drug dealer. It was a short-lived friendship, but it had a remarkable impact on me. At the time, I was living in north suburbs of Chicago. Me and my friend Mike, on a regular basis, we'd go down into the city, find some clubs to go to, dance, come back. He would usually drive down, and I would usually drive back with him passed out in the back seat. That was the kind of relationship it was. On this particular night, me and Mike were at a couple of different clubs and dancing, and if any of you know me, I really like to dance, and I was all sweaty and tired, and it was already like 2 in the morning, and I was kind of ready to go home, but we met a couple girls that said, we're going to this house party, it's going to be really fun, and we would like you to come. And Mike says, okay. And it was his car, and so I had to go with him. And so we go into this house, and most of the people were gathered in the kitchen, and this house belonged to a man named Titty, who was apparently a drug dealer. And I didn't really talk to Titty very much. Mike did, though. My friend Mike and Titty were off in one corner of the kitchen in deep conversation of some sort. I was kind of in the other corner of the kitchen. I was free rapping with a couple of black guys, having a good time. And everybody's kind of talking. There's some music going. We're having a great time. And all of a sudden, we hear this car pull up in front of the house. Some guys get out and yell some stuff. I couldn't hear what they're saying. We all kind of get quiet to hear what they're saying. And Titty stands up, like real like mannish, like with his chest. And he says, everybody just stay here. He goes to his drawer in the kitchen and opens it, and he pulls out 2 big forks. And he goes outside. And I had no idea what was going on. And at the time in my brain, I didn't connect any sort of possibility of what could be happening outside. And so I continued free rapping with my new black friends. And about 5 minutes later, Titty comes back in, and he still has these forks, and he's just standing big and tall, except the forks are all bloody, and his hands are all bloody, and there's patches of blood all over his shirt and on his pants. And I start freaking out, because he just stabbed some guys in the street with forks, and that's crazy. And so he stands in the kitchen for it was probably like 5 seconds. It seemed like forever, just with his bloody forks, and we're all just staring at him. And then he goes away, and people start talking, but I didn't really want to free rap anymore, and I was just kind of being quiet, trying to process all that was happening. He comes back in, he had changed his clothes, and he has this huge gun, and he slams it down on the corner, and he says, everybody get out of my house. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. And he goes, except for you, Mike, you're cool, you stay. This is my friend, right? And so I'm still leaving because I don't want to be there anymore. But Mike's like, oh, I'm here with my friend Garrett, can he stay too? And Titty's like, fine, he can stay too. And I'm like, dang it, I didn't want to stay because I was like really uncomfortable. And so now it's just Titty, and he's right there in front of me with his big gun, and Mike and me, and they're talking, and I had nothing to add to the conversation whatsoever. And then Titty's like, do you want to see my gun collection? And I was like, oh, okay. And we go into this closet, and he has this closet with all these guns, and I was just I don't like guns to begin with, and I don't like people with blood on them, and I don't like drug dealers, and I was just really tired already from club dancing, and so I didn't want to be there. Right after he shows us the gun, Titty says, I'm hungry, we're going to go get something to eat. We go outside, and I'm thinking I'm going to drive this time. Titty's in no shape to drive, Mike's in no shape to drive, I'm the designated driver. But Titty says, I'm going to drive, give me the keys. And at the time, I'm like, that might not be safe, but Titty's really scary, so I gave him the keys, and I get in the back seat, and he starts driving, and they're talking and driving around in circles, and I fell asleep. This time it was like 4 in the morning. I laid back in the back seat. I fell asleep. I was out, and next thing I know, the sun was rising. It was probably 2 or 3 hours later, and I wake up. I sit up in the back seat. We're in the parking lot of a McDonald's. It was if anybody's in Chicago, they have these Oasis McDonald's that bridge over the highway. They're open 24 hours. I look forward. My friend Mike is passed out in the passenger seat, probably like 7 or 8 McDonald's wrappers like all over him. I look in the driver's seat, and there's 7 or 8 McDonald's wrappers, but no Titty, and he was gone. And I wake up Mike. I'm like, Mike, where'd Titty go? And Mike's like, I don't know, man. And so the keys were still there, and so I get in the front seat, I turn on the car, and I drive home because I was done. And I never saw Titty again. He just kind of disappeared, and that was the end, and that's my story.